Birmingham Bowl 2017 South Florida vs Texas Tech live stream, live score updates. The 2017 Birmingham Bowl takes place Saturday, December 23, at Legion Field in Birmingham. South Florida 9-2 meets Texas Tech 6-6 in this year's game. ESPN will televise the game live beginning at 11 a.m. Central, noon Eastern. US is a 3-point favorite. According to Vegas Insider, the Bulls and Red Raiders have never met in football. Preview: Charlie Strong is facing a familiar opponent in his first bowl game with South Florida. The former Texas coach leads the 23rd-ranked Bulls 9-2 into the Birmingham Bowl on Saturday against Texas Tech 6-6, the Longhorns' Big 12 conference rival. Strong isn't banking too much on that familiarity. "It's just totally two different teams," said Strong, who was 2-1 against the Red Raiders with the Longhorns. "You look at last year, they had a quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, who is a first-round draft pick. In 3 years at Texas, we had some really good games and Cliff Kingsbury has done a very good job with that team. It's a very explosive offense, can score at any time, very aggressive on defense." If you're looking for a Birmingham Bowl live stream, you can find it at Watch ESPN. Texas Tech's Kingsbury said there's a different look from those Texas teams because of personnel, including a dual-threat quarterback. "I don't see too much carryover outside the fact that Coach Strong's teams are always well coached and play very hard," Kingsbury said. Strong is trying to finish his first season at South Florida by helping the Bulls reach double-digit wins and finish in the top 25 for the second straight year. Both defenses are tasked with defending dangerous quarterbacks, though they have different styles. South Florida's Quinton Flowers is a running and passing threat, while Texas Tech's Nick Shimanek is a prolific passer. Kingsbury said it's hard to find a scout teamer to simulate a player like Flowers. "The quickness and athleticism that Quinton brings is a different animal," Kingsbury said. "He's like a very dynamic wide receiver who's a very athletic passer back there, trying to corral him." The Red Raiders became bowl eligible with a comeback win over the Longhorns, who led by 10 points early in the fourth quarter. Strong said he didn't watch the game except while studying Texas Tech film. "It was a really good football game," he said. "Here are some things to watch in the Birmingham Bowl. Flowers records with 11,385 total yards in his career. Flowers needs just 47 total yards to break the American Athletic Conference record held by Temple's Philip Walker. Deaths reported aboard Amtrak train that derailed over Washington State Highway. An Amtrak passenger train derailed Monday morning, spilling multiple cars off an Interstate 5 overpass and killing several people on the train in Pierce County, Washington, according to the spokesman for the Pierce County Sheriff's Office. Several motorists and vehicles that were struck by the fallen train cars suffered injuries, but there were no fatalities among people in those vehicles, the sheriff's office said. "The deaths are all contained to the train," said Ed Troyer, the Pierce County Sheriff's Office spokesman. "It's pretty horrific." Troyer said there were multiple fatalities, but couldn't provide a precise number. He said multiple cars and trucks were struck by the train when at least one car hit the highway, and that some of the injured were able to walk off the train and are receiving treatment. All southbound lanes of the interstate are closed due to the derailment, and the site stunned motorists heading to work. The incident took place at 7:40 a.m. near DuPont, between Tacoma and Olympia. "I was traveling to work this morning along I-5 and we came to a sudden stop," Greg Mukai told CNN by phone. "We all tried to stop quickly to avoid running into each other, to be honest. Once we all came to a stop, I was able to look up and see, unfortunately, this scary thing of a train hanging off of the overpass. Lots of military personnel and people ran to try to help the best they could." Latest developments: several fatalities have been reported among people on the train, the Pierce County Sheriff's Office spokesman said. Injuries have been reported among motorists on the highway whose vehicles were struck by the falling train cars. Pierce County says. Photos from the scene show at least one train car on the road, with another dangling over it. Danny Orlob told CNN there was a semi and a crushed truck underneath the train cars. "We came around the corner, and it had to have just happened. There were no police there yet. There was one link of the train off to one side and the other on the other side of the freeway. There were crushed cars underneath. There was an insane amount of fire trucks and ambulances heading towards us." Amtrak said it is aware of the incident involving the 501 train, which travels from Seattle to Portland, Oregon. According to an online schedule, the 501 train is one of Amtrak's Cascades trains, which they say connect 18 cities along the I-5 corridor including Seattle, Portland, Vancouver, D.C., and Eugene, Oregon. Amtrak service south of Seattle is temporarily suspended. Service from Seattle to points north and east is continuing to operate. Amtrak said. The National Transportation Safety Board tweeted that it is gathering information about an accident involving an Amtrak passenger train near Seattle, Washington. Washington Governor Jay Inslee tweeted, "Thank you to the first responders on the scene. We're praying for everyone on board the train and ask everyone to hold them in your thoughts." Amtrak train derails in Washington state onto Interstate 5. Multiple fatalities reported. Multiple fatalities were reported after an Amtrak train carrying 70 people derailed Monday morning in Washington state outside of Tacoma, causing at least one train car to fall off an overpass and onto an interstate highway, Pierce County Sheriff's spokesman Ed Troyer said. Amtrak train 501 was traveling southbound from Seattle when it derailed along Interstate 5 about 7:30 a.m. The train was just leaving the new Tacoma station when the derailment happened. Injuries and casualties were reported, Pierce County Sheriff's Office said. Though it's unclear how many people that included. Amtrak said it was aware of an incident involving Amtrak Train 501, its Cascade service from Seattle to Portland. Or, service heading south of Seattle is temporarily suspended. As of 8 a.m. a highway camera showed at least one train car toppled onto the road, causing a traffic jam. Photos tweeted by Washington State Patrol Public Information Officer Brooke Botha showed one car detached and smashed on the ground. Another car was dangling from the overpass. Chris Carnes, who was on the train 3 or 4 cars back from the front, told the Associated Press, "I'm not sure what got hit. I'm not sure what happened." Botha told Fox News is happening now that people are advised to avoid Interstate 5 and that clearing the area will be an all-day process. Several cars were struck by the Amtrak train cars, injuring multiple drivers on the highway. No motorist deaths were reported, according to Pierce County officials. Chris Caines, the chair of Pierce Transit's advisory board, said on Twitter the train has derailed. Emergency crews are on the scene. Massive damage. People are hurt. He said the train appeared to have hit a truck, adding that the car was destroyed. The derailment caused all southbound lanes of Interstate 5 near Mounts Road in Pierce County to be closed, the Washington State Department of Transportation tweeted. WSDOT tweeted that drivers should expect long delays and avoid the area. Southbound Interstate 5 near DuPont was closed shortly after the derailment after traffic backed up for miles. Monday was the first day of schedule changes to include 2 new round trips between Seattle and Portland, according to the Amtrak website. Amtrak Train 501 is part of the new route running between Portland and Seattle daily. Washington Department of Transportation spent $800 million on passenger train improvement. The southbound lanes of Interstate 5, which see about 60,000 vehicles per day, are expected to be closed for an extended period, according to the WSDOT. Multiple fatalities after Amtrak train derails in Washington state. An Amtrak train derailed in Washington state this morning, leaving multiple fatalities after part of the train careened off an overpass onto a heavily trafficked highway below, a local official said. The number of fatalities on board the train was not immediately clear, but no one was killed on the roadway of Interstate 5 below, according to the Pierce County Sheriff. Several motorists on the highway were injured when their vehicles were struck by the derailed train. In the wake of the derailment, dozens of motorists on the northbound roadway near DuPont, about 50 miles south of Seattle, sprang into action to help. A witness told ABC affiliate Como TV. Witness Greg Mukai told ABC News he drove by shortly after the derailment, and the train carriage looked like it collided with some cars on the freeway. Mukai said he saw smoke everywhere and injured people carried out on stretchers. Some 75 people were on board Amtrak Train 501, which was headed from Seattle to Portland. According to Amtrak and a Washington State Department of Transportation spokesperson. The Washington State Department of Transportation said the derailment was blocking all southbound lanes of Interstate 5 near Mounts Road in Pierce County. Amtrak said its service south of Seattle was temporarily suspended.